while using the stairway, keeping your hands on the railing at all times. Mind the gap between the boat and the dock and step onto the boat 1 foot at a time. Be careful of the wooden handle above your head, and the 2 doorways located at the front and the back of the boat. While on the boat, do not put anything out of the window. For your own safety, do not stand on your seats. Climb to the roof. Should a life jacket be required, you will find it underneath your seat. Slip it over your head and tie a knot like the weights found in the car. Form a strap at the sides of the jacket that runs around your back. Securing the strap, tie a knot through a loop at the front of the jacket. There are 2 exit doors located at the front and the back of the boat, and 2 life wells at the back of the boat. Passengers should also be reminded that smoking is not allowed. Please do not dispose any rubbish into the river. If assistance is required, please contact our boat members. Thank you for traveling with Singapore River Cruise. We wish you a pleasant journey.
Có thân tôi là sành ngoài thôi.
Hello and a very warm welcome aboard. Thank you for choosing to travel with us on the Singapore River Cruise. On this journey, you'll get to unravel Singapore's gritty past, enjoy our vibrant present, and even take a glimpse into our exciting future. This river represents the heart and soul of our young nation. In fact, Singapore's fortunes began at this very river a long time ago and have continued to flow from it ever since. Now, if you've got your eyes trained, your ears peeled, and your cameras ready, let's get started. You're now traveling into the very heart of our island city, so sit back and enjoy Singapore's fascinating story.
Dĩ dập của ông đi xanh phí. Con đi đầu khôi. Đi đâu ngóng ai chầu khôi, lấy con quay, lấy con xe tỉ. Singapore tận số đâu thì phải.
The area to your right used to be the site of Riverside Village, a plague-infested squatters' colony which housed the seedy underbelly of opium dens, brothels, and secret societies. Addicts, ladies of the night, and gangsters jostled for space in this once dangerous, mysterious place. But today, the building Riverside Point sits on the historical foundations of that notorious village. No longer dangerous and seedy, but a delightful waterfront dining oasis that boasts its very own microbrewery. Perhaps you'd like to return by foot to explore all these fun possibilities. Did you know that the paths along the Singapore River make up one continuous looping promenade that connects everything you see along the riverbanks? Take a leisurely stroll and soak in the atmosphere along the 6-kilometer promenade that flanks both sides of the river. As you take in the sights and sounds, you'll be comfortably shaded by lush greenery and definitely tempted by the many shops and cafes along the way. Look across the river and up to your left. See the lush green hill and the large tower overlooking Clarke Quay and the river? That is Fort Canning Hill, where Raffles built his own bungalow, Singapore's first government house. He also planted a spice garden, Singapore's first experimental botanic garden, to cultivate commercially imported spices. The hill was later used by the British as an arms store, barracks and hospital, which probably led to its final name, Fort Canning. But way before the British arrived on our shores, Fort Canning was the place where ancient Malayan royalty once lived and were laid to rest. It was considered so sacred that it was known as Forbidden Hill. Forbidden because commoners were not allowed to visit. Of course, all that has changed, and now you're most welcome to visit Fort Canning to see the old British underground bunkers, and if you're really brave-hearted, explore the ancient gravestones that still remain on its shady slopes. Now here's a building that just begs for attention. See the one adorned with colorful windows on your left? Home to the Ministry of Information, Communications and the Arts, its multi-hued facade not only reflects Singapore's multicultural heritage, but also hints at the building's equally colorful past. Can you believe that this rainbow-splashed complex used to be the old Hill Street Police Station and was once considered a skyscraper? But that was before World War II. In fact, the old Hill Street Police Station served as Singapore's earliest secure jail. And during World War II, it's even believed to have been a torture chamber. With such a vivid history, it's certainly no wonder the building was named a national monument in 1998. On your right is Boat Quay and its stretch of colorful, quaint shophouses. It was completed in 1842 and is Singapore's very first quay. At its peak in the 1860s, Boat Quay handled 3/4 of Singapore's total shipping business. The sheltered riverbanks made excellent loading and unloading places. Back then, the whole river was chock-a-block with thousands of boats transporting a whole myriad of goods to be traded by the merchants who had set up shop in that row of buildings on the bank. Some of those goods included seafood, spices, and rubber. The precious cargo was shouldered across gangplanks by immigrant laborers known as coolies, whose blood, sweat, and tears formed the very backbone of our nation's rise to prosperity. Wonder why all the shophouses are concentrated on just one embankment of Boat Quay? Well, legend has it that the Chinese immigrants chose to set up home only on the south bank of the river. You'll notice how the riverbank curves just like the belly of a carp. In Chinese culture, this majestic fish is an auspicious symbol of good fortune and a great place to store wealth. These first immigrants believed that this part of the Singapore River was where prosperity and wealth could be found. That's also why many banks and businesses started up here and eventually developed this area into our current central business district. Where once boats lined the water's edge, today the banks of Boat Quay are lined with shophouses turned into restaurants and pubs. The facades of the Boat Quay shophouses have been retained, and their unique architectural styles give the district a distinct flavor. Notice how the shophouses are of varying heights? Long ago, this signaled the owner's wealth. In other words, the higher the building, the wealthier the owner. Perhaps these traditional beliefs have extended till today. Just take a look at the tall skyscrapers of Singapore's financial district towering over the Boat Quay shophouses. This is the perfect place for snapping pictures, so enjoy the 360-degree views and drink in Boat Quay's unique blend of traditional Asian values set against a modern and progressive backdrop. See how the shophouses form a charming contrast of Singapore's developing years against the skyline of a new Singapore. This truly is a uniquely Singapore sight. By the way, are you feeling hungry? Hawkers and their pushcarts used to line the riverbanks, selling local dishes that were cheap and delicious. A bowl of Teochew porridge cost only 10 cents. Better yet, side dishes were free of charge. Every day, the people who worked and lived at the river would eat at these pushcarts, sitting on little stools along the river banks. Perhaps that was how al fresco dining got its start in Singapore. Directly ahead is Kavanagh Bridge. Completed in 1869 and named after Colonel Sir William Orford Kavanagh, Singapore's last governor, it's Singapore's only suspension bridge to have retained its intricate original form. It was manufactured in Scotland, then shipped to Singapore later to be assembled. Unfortunately, the bridge was built too low, and boats had to wait for low tide before they could pass. So look out and don't forget to duck as we cruise under the bridge. Just kidding. Coming up on the other side of Kavanagh Bridge, you'll see a group of little boys jumping into the river. Don't worry about jumping in to save them. They're actually incredibly lifelike bronze sculptures showing a scene from the river's past, where children would stand and wave cheekily from their houses. Very often they would take off all their clothes and jump in for a cool afternoon swim. Standing tall and majestic is the exclusive Fullerton Hotel, which blends the elegance of old world charm with every modern convenience. Built in 1928, lots of paper pushing went on behind the hotel's splendid columns before its glamorous makeover. Its facade is a masterpiece of neoclassical grandeur, which belies its much stuffier original occupants, the Chamber of Commerce offices and the General Post Office, from which mail was transported along the Singapore River to and from ships. Since the 1950s, this was also the site of many political campaign rallies, but even longer before that, it was occupied by Fort Fullerton, built to defend the town at the mouth of the Singapore River. This promontory to your right used to be home to the merlion, Singapore's half-lion, half-fish icon. The merlion stood guard here at the river mouth for 30 years before it was hauled by barge to its new home in the bay in 2002. As we make our way out into Marina Bay, you'll be able to see the merlion for yourself and hear all about its story.
哦，这样晒到风吹着这个呢。
As promised, up next is Malayan Park, home of the original Malayan statue. To understand our unique national emblem with the lion head and fish body resting on a crest of waves, here's a quick history lesson. Singapore was originally known as the ancient city of Temasek, which means sea town in Javanese. But according to legend recorded in the Malay annals, Prince Sang Nila Utama renamed it Singapura, meaning Lion City in Sanskrit, after he spotted a lion on its shores. The lion's head represents the lion spotted by the legendary Sang Nila Utama, while its fishtail symbolizes Temasek and Singapore's humble beginnings as a fishing village. Measuring 8.6 meters high and weighing 70 tons, the Malayan sits on reclaimed land looking out to sea. She attracts millions of visitors a year who make the trip to Malayan Park to photograph this world-famous icon at her new home right here in scenic Marina Bay. Take a peek behind the Malayan and you'll see a baby Malayan. Believe it or not, its scales are made from pieces of porcelain repurposed from spoons, bowls, and plates. Next to the Malayan and her cub is a luxurious lifestyle dining and waterfront hotel hub known as the Fullerton Heritage that blends exciting futuristic projects with the older colonial landscape of Singapore. Marina Bay Financial Centre, which sits on prime waterfront real estate at the heart of Singapore's new downtown and is an expansion of landmarks in Marina Bay, which will help you navigate the Bay Area. Marina Reservoir is Singapore's 15th reservoir. It has the largest and most urbanized catchment area at 10,000 hectares, or 1/6 the size of Singapore. Just imagine, you're literally floating in drinking water, perhaps the very same stuff flowing out of your taps. Cruising out into the bay, you couldn't have missed the giant wheel in the sky. That is the largest contrast to the skyscrapers that now mark Singapore's skyline. Just look to the right and you'll see sitting grandly before us 3 beautifully preserved buildings that commemorate Queen Victoria in beautifully cast bronze. There are many other surprising sculptures that dot the Singapore River Promenade, and if you decide to take an explore...
这就走，
我玻璃卡，我玻璃卡，啊。